Expos and the Phils. Last of the second inning. Here's the alignment defensively for Montreal. Rogers and Carter the battery with Parrish at third, Chris Byer the shortstop, Jerry Manuel at second, and Warren Cromartie at first. Jerry White with Dawson in center, Tim Wallach in right. Home field advantage. Montreal winning their 2 games at Olympic Stadium. The Phils winning both games here. And now the 1-game series. The winner advances against either Houston and the Dodgers. Manny Trio 1 for 12 in the series. No team since the 3 out of 5 playoff structure began in 1969 has lost the first 2 and still going on to win the series. And yet 3 teams today, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Phils, have a chance to rewrite that historical note.
You really wouldn't think, Dick, that a team that goes ahead, let's say in a normal season, playing 162 games, would have a home field advantage. There's just so many games that are played. But teams like Houston, Montreal this year in Olympic Stadium.
Little number out to Manuel at second base, 1 away.
Somehow that home field advantage really plays a part in the game. I can see it in the game of football, but in the game of baseball, it seems like it would be, you're playing so many games, playing 7 days a week. Sometimes it just doesn't seem like it would make a difference, but it does.
In the National League, a home team has not lost yet in the playoffs. Houston winning its 2 at home, and the Dodgers 2 at home. Boa strokes 1 to center, and there's 2 away as Dawson captures it. Bob Boone, the catcher, making his first start. Chatted with him before the game today and asked him, how's he get ready in the morning of a game?
A little different for me today, Tom. I got here a little later than I normally do. I had to go out and watch my son played Pee Wee football this morning. It was a real exciting game. They for the nip and tuck battle, they ended up losing 7-0, but it was quite a game. It was nice, relaxing morning for me.
Boone very proud of his athletically talented young sons.
And well, he should be. They can do a lot of things in sports. Of course, Bob, an outstanding athlete himself. But little Brett comes out here and takes ground balls. He takes balls in the outfield.
They said he could catch the ball behind his back when he was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yep, he's 12 years old, and he can play outfield with the guys that are standing out there right now. Little Aaron, his other little son, comes out here. 2 good-looking little children he has. Has another baby at home, too.
But there's never been 3 generations to make it to the major leagues, but they say that Boone's might well be the first. Chris Byer takes care of his high hopper, and it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Steve Rogers, pitching as he did in game 1, very solidly. 1-2-3 second inning. No score after 2 in Philadelphia, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Chris Byer leading off the Montreal third, sends it high toward Vukovich, battling the fans, and makes the play. Byer fouling to right.
The boy in right field for the Phillies has had himself a pretty good couple of days, pretty good couple of innings. 1 inning last night, hits a home run out there, makes a fine catch down the right field line.
On this Sunday, let's check National Football League action. For those of you who've wandered away and haven't picked up the final scores or partials, we'll run those down for you and keep you in tune with what's happening on that side as the course of our game goes along. Jerry Manuel 1 for 11 thus far in the playoffs. In Los Angeles, no score. Houston and the Dodgers in the top of the second. That's Jerry Royce for Los Angeles and Nolan Ryan for Houston. They're in the same situation as we are here. Home team favored. Home team trying to win 3 in a row and advance to the National League Championship Series. One ball, 2 strikes. The 4th strikeout for Carlton, all swinging. Steve Rogers comes up. There's a lot of pressure on him, and he's had a lot of time to think about his game strategy today.
Well, certainly we all knew we had to win the first one to win the third one, but now we're down to the 5th game in this series. We still haven't won the third one. It all of a sudden becomes the most important, but I must admit I haven't approached it any differently. I don't think anybody can consider it any differently than any one of the 5 games so far.
Rogers, the count 1-1. Steve attended Tulsa University and was received his Bachelor's of Science in Petroleum Engineering. And, of course, he'd like to drill a hole and get a gusher today and go right on to that championship. The team that wins here today will be on the road for the first 2 games of the championship series. And we'll give you all that information as it boils down into the late innings. Rogers, a fair hitter, 145 on the season. Had 3 RBIs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carlton going through the lineup for the first time. 1 base hit. Make it 2 as Rogers sends one right back over the rubber. 2-out single by Rogers. Football scores. The Eagles, and of course Philadelphia fans already happy about one victory today, beating New Orleans rather handily. They're still unbeaten. The Jets and New England in a great game. The Jets win again. Pittsburgh able to fight off the challenge of the Browns 13-7. The Steelers, after losing 2, have won 4 in a row. And look at that one. 4th quarter, the Rams have gone in front of Atlanta 37-35. We understand quarterback Pat Hayden of Los Angeles injured in that game. We're trying to get a confirmation. Houston leading Seattle late 28-10. Washington trying to win its first game of the year against the Bears 17-0 4th quarter. The Tampa's leading the Greens 21-10 in the Battle of the Bays in the 4th quarter. Cromartie takes one outside. And how about that one? 3 consecutive shutout losses by the Oakland Raiders, the defending Super Bowl champions, and Kansas City Chiefs put it on them today at Arrowhead. There's a team that had not been shut out in over 200 games spanning some 15-plus years, and now have been blanked 3 straight games. How do you figure that? Cincinnati beating Baltimore 34-19. Weak wave by Cromartie. He's the only left-handed hitter in the lineup. Denver 10, Detroit 7 early out at Mile High Stadium. San Diego takes the early lead against the Vikings in San Diego, and San Francisco 7-0 against the Cowboys at Candlestick Park. So you're up to date on all the football action. No score in this game. We're on the top of the 3rd inning, 2 out, and Rogers at first, and there's no score in Los Angeles. Astros and Dodgers. Rogers goes. Carlton neglecting the opposing pitcher, and just taking a little chance there. Had a good lead.
Well, the Expos tried to run last inning with Gary Carter here. An element of surprise. Steve Rogers, who got hurt as a pinch runner during the regular season, and here he is running again, but this count does go to 3-2. He's going to be running anyway.
2-2 to Cromartie. He struck out first time up. That's the slider, and Carlton logs his 5th strikeout. No runs. Rogers with a 2-out single. He's left at first base. Middle of the 3rd inning at Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. The winner today moves on to the championship series. No score.
They've won their respective division, the best 4 teams in baseball. So be there for all the action of the league championship playoffs starting Tuesday night on the home of great baseball, NBC Sports.
Steve Carlton leads off the Philly 3rd inning and fouls it high off 3rd. Might be a play for Parrish. That ball came back to him. 1 swing, 1 out. Let's go back to Carlton taking care of Cromartie.
5 strikeouts already for Steve. He did not pitch particularly well up in Montreal in game number 1 when Steve Rogers beat him. But he has his slider going today.
He's using active slider.
He's using his fastball a little bit more today, which he was not doing in Montreal too. That's the thing that's going to make his slider more effective. There's a little bit more use of that fastball.
Danny Smith hits it hard, but right at Jerry White. So Smith 0 for 2, popped up his first at bat.
That's a pitcher's friend, too. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Those are buddies from Central Michigan.
That's
They're
right.
talking about Central Michigan.
Yeah, that's the Alumni Association right there. Hey, listen, don't make fun of me. Your alma mater. USC yesterday didn't exactly come through as forecast.
Notice the black armband here on my coat today. A little bit in mourning from my Trojans from SC.
A couple of Arizona boys down that Montreal dugout, Brad Mills and Terry Francona. They're smiling about that Wildcat victory against Southern California. As you look ahead, NBC and our Rose Bowl date, January 1st, and suddenly Wisconsin, the Badgers have beaten Michigan and Ohio State. Iowa playing well. We might have a strange face out there from the Big Ten. 2-1 to Rose. He was commenting before the game, Tom Seaver, that Rogers doesn't throw a lot of strikes, and Schmidt confirmed that. He said, you know, he throws a lot of pitches that look good, but they're not strikes.
Well, Steve has such good movement on the ball, Dick, that as they go to the plate, they'll look like strikes and then sometimes just sink out of the strike zone. He's a fine sinker and a good slider. Anybody that's good control and can make his living on the black edges of that plate. You see right there in front of Gary Carter, the white is really the plate, but when hitters and pitchers talk about throwing on the black, they're talking about the edges of that plate, and that's where a guy like a Steve Rogers will make his living.
Barris won't be able to get to that one. First row, and a good catch made by a fan. Asked Schmidt, what does Rogers throw? And he said, nothing straight. And fastball, dips and dives and runs, and of course all of his breaking pitches.
Well, there's only 3 elements that really you can put into a baseball. It can go so fast, have certain movement on it, and end up at a certain location. That's really the only thing that can happen between the pitcher and home plate.
There was a good example, a pitch that may or may not have been a strike, but it certainly was a pitcher's pitch, and Rose is out of there, and so are the Phillies, who go in order for the second consecutive inning. That's 7 in a row, retired by Rogers. And after 3 innings at the vet, it's Rogers and Carlton handcuffing the hitters. Top of the 4th inning, no score here in Philadelphia. Steve Carlton facing Jerry White, Andre Dawson, and Gary Carter. White struck out swinging his first at bat. That slider, 1-1.
That's the pitch that if he gets it there, it looks like it's going to be a strike, and the strike zone just becomes unhittable. The difference between Carlson today, it seems like, you see how his right arm was going down there, mechanically pulling his right arm down, boom, and that forces his left arm up, and he can stay on top of the ball. The thing that Steve was doing in Montreal was that lead arm, that right arm was going almost parallel to the ground. It has to go toward the ground. He has to pull down with that right arm. And that way, he can keep his hand on top of the slider. That's why he was throwing so many hanging sliders up in Montreal.
So the bat is almost a fulcrum with the right hand going down that brings the left arm up.
Exactly. If you can watch the right arm, it pulls down with that right arm here. That will throw the left arm to get it up in the throwing position. For whatever the reason in Montreal, it was cold or whatever. His mechanics were not good in Montreal.
There's a base hit by White. And Matthews gets it in. A leadoff man is aboard. Joe Torre, fired by the Mets as manager, but here broadcasting the series on radio, we ask him, is he going to be the next Montreal manager?
Well, Tom, as you know, every city I've been in, I've started a rumor, and so far I've read it in all the papers, and if I start enough rumor and throw enough stuff, something will stick against the wall. So hopefully I will be on the field next year.
One of John Brody's lines. Remember him sometimes after a good game and say, hey, throw enough of that junk against the wall, something will stick. Yeah, lots of openings and lots of rumors flying. One of those had Tom Seaver's going to New York to be the Mets manager, a pitcher manager.
That was our friend Maury Allen, one of his columns, I think a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I'm not done pitching yet, I hope.
Well, no, they said pitcher and manager, dual role.
That'd be kind of tough. How am I going to take myself out of the game?
You don't want to come out even with.
Am I going to call myself into my own office to chew my own rear end out, or what? How would I do that?
Have a clubhouse meeting with yourself, huh? But seriously, in case you weren't with us the other day when we discussed that, Tom has indicated he would like to manage someday. Not quite so soon. Andre Dawson has knocked in a run in this series. He struck out swinging his first time up. No one out. 0-2. Let's go back now. Let's see if I caught on what you were saying, Tom. It's the front arm, the right arm. He's got to pull that down.
Get it down. Get it. As soon as you get it up, now get it down. Pull it down. See how it goes down, and that throws the left shoulder up. And that keeps his hand on top of the ball as opposed to on the side or underneath it. That's where the so-called hanging slider comes from, when the hand gets underneath the ball.
Throws in foul territory.
This is the man at home plate, Andre Dawson, who, that's Jerry White going back to first. The man at home plate, Andre Dawson, is the guy that has to do something for these Expos to win. Through these games, no RBIs. I mean, and he had an MVP type of year, but for whatever reason, the last 2 or 3 weeks, tired, fatigue, and a slump, or you can just name the reasons, but he's got to explode somewhere, and he has to if the Expos really are going to have a realistic chance to win this thing.
Yeah, he was hitting around 325 early in September and barely hit 300 for the year, so he had a terrible last month slump. Out of play. And he realizes that responsibility. Talking with him before the game today, he said, I've got to do something. I mean, I am one of the top hitters on this team, and if we're going to extend on into the championship series, I've got to produce.
In that number 3 spot, he's got to drive in run someplace.
0-2 the count, and Carlton keeping an eye on White, who has 3 stolen bases in the series. To the count. Smothers that one foul. Just to recap the series for you, in game 1 at Montreal, Rogers beat Carlton 3-1. In game 2, it was Gullickson, aided by a 2-run homer by Gary Carter, that helped Montreal to a 3-1 victory. Then the scene shifted here to Philadelphia, where in game 3, Larry Christensen and a 13-hit attack led to a 6-2 win. And then yesterday, the dramatic home run by Vukovic in the 10th inning, a pinch homer. Tug McGraw making his first relief appearance. And it's all even coming into today's game. And Doris, in the National League West, where great pitching certainly has been the keynote. The Dodgers have rallied 6-1 and 2-1 to even their series. Last night, Fernando Valenzuela on a day's less rest, and today Royce with 1 day's less rest against Nolan Ryan. Oakland, the only team to sweep, made it look easy against Kansas City, allowed the Royals only 2 runs in 3 games. And Milwaukee, the one team that has been able to win on the road in that down 2-game situation after losing 2 at home to the Yankees, have come back to beat New York 5-3 and 2-1. And owner George Steinbrenner, the Yankees, showed his great displeasure at that pattern. Apparently a most unusual tirade by a owner in the midst of a playoff, threatening to send them all packing. Rick Cerrone reportedly in tears after the game yesterday, lost to Milwaukee. And perhaps buried in all those headlines, the fact that Pete Vukovic, obviously pitching when not at full strength and ill, did a tremendous job for the Milwaukee Brewers. Slider gets Dawson again. That's 6 strikeouts for Carlton. Gary Carter singled his first time up. His thoughts about facing lefty Carlton.
Well, my thoughts, Tommy, are that I'm excited the fact that, I feel very confident of our chances. At the same token, it's amazing how a season can go on as long as it has, and it boils down to one game. But I'm confident that we can beat Lefty today. He's one of the best pitchers in the game today, besides yourself, and I think we can beat him today.
Carter, who singled sharply to left field his first time up. White at first, 1 out. We're in the 4th inning, no score.
A classic battle between Carlton and Dawson. No balls and 2 strikes, and Dawson fouled off about 6 pitches in a row, and Carlton finally made his pitch. A fastball up out of the strike zone to set it up, and then came back down and in off the plate for the, his classic pitch, his strikeout pitch. But they got Dawson for the second time.
But such a tough pitch, that slider coming down and into the right-handed hitter who just can't get at it.
Especially with 2 strikes. If it's down in there, you don't know if it's going to hit the corner of the plate. It's going to come in off the plate. Steve is doubly effective when he does have his fastball, which he's throwing more today than he did in Game 1. If he can place that fastball in the outside corner right there, that was a good shot of it, too. When he can throw that pitch and the slider in off the plate for those right-handers, he's very tough.
He's fallen behind Carter, 2-0.
Against the Phillies and a guy like Carlton, the Expos are going to have to do something with their running game. Sooner or later, they got to start Jerry Wright here.
High in the air to center field, and that's Lonnie Smith. His last experience out there yesterday led to a spike wound as he misjudged the fly ball. By the time he came in to make a diving try for it, Gary Matthews, racing over from left field, stepped on his arm. Fortunately, not serious, and back in the lineup today. Larry Parrish now 1 for 17 in the series.
I was talking about Larry earlier in the game about he is the surprise here coming down the stretch. He hit over 300 in those last 5 weeks, and here he is in a series coming in hot, the hot hitter for the Expos, but 1 hit, which he just got yesterday. Trying too hard, overswinging, all those things that you can do in a playoff game.
Boone guessing that White might be going, and it's 1-1. The Expos have Tim Raines available as a pinch runner, and there just hasn't been a situation where Jim Fanning could use him in the series. There goes White. Out of there. Very close play. Trio makes the tag, and the inning is over. Boone guns down Jerry White, and the Phils come up in the bottom of the 4th. No score.
Baseball is the same in Japan as it is in America. You play 9 innings. 3 strikes and you're out. And after the game, there's nothing like a beer. And when Numa's in town, I treat him to light beer from Miller because it tastes great. Yeah, I know it's less filling, but we drink it because it tastes great. Listen, Numa, it tastes great. All right, it's less filling.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And
Vukovich will lead off the Philly 4th inning. The star yesterday, his 3rd pinch hit of the series, a home run to win it.
It was a great situation. I was just trying to hit the ball hard, and I got ahead of Reardon, and I was looking for a pitch down and in that I could drive, and he threw it right where I wanted it.
There is something about baseball and how you remember certain moments. They live on and on through the years, and that'll be one that Philly fans will long recall. George Vukovich. Grounded out his first time up in the starting lineup today. 4 for 5 in the series, 3 of those hits pinch hits. And just to put that in perspective, Vukovich with 3 pinch hits in 4 games. The World Series record is 3 pinch hits, and the playoff record is also 3. Bobby Brown, Dusty Rhodes, Carl Warwick, Gonzalo Marquez, and Ken Boswell, all with 3 hits. Here's that last steal attempt.
A very questionable at second base whether he was safe or out, but the point being there that Bob Boone catching instead of Keith Moreland. Moreland is the guy with one of the heavy bats for the Phils. Here's the tag again. It looked like it was safe to me, Dick.
It did
like he
from
beat
both
the
those
throw.
angles. Yes, it did. Looked like the tag was high. Vukovic off speed gets him. One away. That's for a strikeout for Rogers. Now in the fourth inning, Houston and the Dodgers, no score. Dodgers without a hit against Nolan Ryan, and Houston with just one hit against Jerry Royce. Let's pause briefly from Philadelphia for a station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is Channel 5, WPTZ, Plattsburgh, North Pole, Burlington.
Dick Enberg and Tom Saber, Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. The final game of this division series. The Phillies and the Expos are scoreless. One out in the fourth inning. Mike Schmidt had a solid single to left field his first time up. Now the lights are on at the vet. Sun setting on another beautiful autumn afternoon. Tuesday, the next date for the winner of this game, either at Los Angeles or at Houston. Tuesday afternoon. Eastern time, 3 o'clock if they play at Houston, 4 o'clock if it's in Los Angeles. And also on NBC, the American League Championship Series will be a night game on Tuesday. Hit well to the opposite field, but Wallach has room. 2 away. For Rogers, he's now going through the lineup since Schmidt's single without allowing a base runner. It's 9 in a row.
Schmidt was talking before the game about everybody's going to stay within and he's just going to try and get a single. That didn't look like a single swing to me, did it? He was going, hit that ball over the right field fence.
Matthews, who hit one over that right field wall yesterday. He's had a good series and leads the Phils in hits with 7. The string of 9 consecutive outs by Steve Rogers, a 2-out single from Matthews.
A good shot of Gary Matthews in his swing, and he flips that helmet right off. You see him? Coming out of the box, he got rid of it.
I know Strancona yesterday did it, and they seem to be part. As soon as they start running full speed, they just did that little
I think
flip.
they must know we're on TV. They're on TV. That's got to be the reason.
Well, the close-ups, you know.
I'll get that razor blade commercial, right?
Manny Trio, soft liner to second his first time up.
The Expos in this game have wanted to run. 2 good pitchers. You got to try to do something. See if the Phillies put something on.
Matthews this year, in case you're wondering, did have 15 stolen bases. So with 2 outs, he is a threat to go. Not much of a lead. To right center. That's a base hit. They're going to wave him in. Here comes the relay. He is out. For some reason, Matthews did not slide, and he is tagged out at the plate on a good relay throw from Jerry Manuel.
The Expo defense looked like they were really taking their time here, Dick. Manuel at second base. He waited. Cromartie laid back on the ball for some reason. Carter right in front of the plate. Carter and Matthews, after the play was over, were exchanging some looks. No love lost there.
I don't think Matthews ever touched home plate.
Casual non-slide at home, I guess you'd say.
Casual the way
Funny
Dawson
play.
played it out in center.
Dawson laid back on the ball. Manuel hesitated. Lee Illia, the third base coach, didn't hesitate. He had Matthews going all the way.
Trying to steal a run. Parrish, base hit, leading off the Montreal fifth inning. That's the fourth hit for the Expos to match the Phillies total. Tim Wallach up, grounded to short. Well, we're in the fifth inning now, Tom Severs. You say you want to manage someday in a game of this import. Do you play for a run this early? One run? No, I guess. No.
I think that you've got to try and get a run, obviously. Anytime you have a matchup between a Carlton and a Rogers, you've got to do something to try and help your offense. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning, certainly, but you know, Carlton and Rogers are not going to give you any runs. I mean, you got to earn everything you get. You got Spire on deck, who historically has swung the bat very well against Steve Carlton. Run him down to scoring position. No outs now. But then Carlton can pitch around Spire. So the possibilities and alternatives are many in this situation. Parrish doesn't run well.
Infield, meanwhile, with a 2-0 count, looking for a double play chance. Now it's 3-0. Carlton has not walked a man. Ball 4.
Now what do you do in this situation? Spire hits him well. We talked to Chris earlier about what he thinks about facing Steve Carlton.
Well, again, anytime you face one of the best in baseball, Steve Carlton, I think the adrenaline's flowing, and if the adrenaline's not flowing today, I don't know when you can really get up for it mentally. But what I try to do against Steve is I try to lay off his slider. If his slider is on today, he's probably one of the tough, if not the toughest pitchers to hit. But if he has control problems with that, therefore he's going to get behind the count. Once he gets behind the count, he likes to come with that fastball away, and this is what I try to sit on, is his fastball.
And that fastball tailed outside.
Fastball away. That's exactly what Chris was talking about, too.
5 in a row missed by Carlton, who had been breezing along with good control, striking out 6. Parrish at second, Wallach at first. No one out in the fifth inning. The Expos' first serious chance.
Well, play manager here. What do you do? Maybe the guy in your lineup that hits the opposing pitcher better than anybody. You put the bunt on. Your number 8 hitter, you let him swing away.
He's swinging away.
Gotta let him swing away. That's exactly right.
2-1 the count. He's got Schmidt in at third and Rose up a couple of steps at first, so that opens up some holes if you're swinging away. Boa and Trio up the middle, hoping to turn 2. And they get a chance. Hit one there, and that's all, as Trio had trouble fielding it cleanly. Parrish goes to third. Spire safe on the fielder's choice.
That looked like another casual defensive play to me. One of these teams is going to go home today, either the team in blue or the team in red. And it looked like a casual effort on Trio's part to me. I think he had enough time to get in front of that ball and shovel it off to Boa. It certainly looked like it. Of course, you're talking about what many people consider the best defensive second baseman in the league out there.
Jerry Manuel, perhaps the weakest hitter in the Montreal lineup, and you'd figure that other than the pitcher. That's why he's in that 8th spot. That statistic reveals the fact that he's not a dangerous hitter. See if Montreal puts on a play first and third. Got Schmidt playing very deep at third, and now comes in Rose holding Spire at first. 2-1.
Always the possibility, Dick, of a delayed steal or double steal. Spire, a veteran at first base. Very heady player, but Parrish, average to above average speed at third. So that comes to play. Steve looks like we talk about lazy defensive plays, both for the Expos and the Phillies. It looks like Steve is lazy. His mechanics all of a sudden seem lazy on the mound.
Falling behind 3-1, and he walks him. The bases are loaded.
And we talked about that right arm going down. When he was pulling that right arm down, throwing his left shoulder up, he was throwing extremely well, and it looks like he's Either his legs are getting stiff, back getting stiff, or whatever. He seems to be moving horizontally, coming around instead of driving the arm down. The ball staying up and out of the strike zone.
And Steve Rogers, the opposing pitcher, steps up, and he has a base hit off Carlton today. Back through the middle. The infield back in the center of the diamond, looking for two in at the corners. He misses again. So Carlton struggling. No score. We're in the 5th inning. Let's look at that motion of Steve Carlton's.
Herm Surratt, the pitching coach for the Philadelphia Phillies, will be looking at Steve rather carefully, trying to figure out if there is one thing in there that he's doing wrong that's throwing him off.
Rogers fouls it out. First game against Montreal and Rogers at Olympic Stadium. 3 runs and 7 hits, but he walked 5 men, unusual for Carlton in those 6 innings. He's walked 2, his first 2 of the game here in the 5th. 1 out and 1-1 on the pitcher Rogers. Base hit to center. Could be a play at the plate. Throws off line. Rose cuts it off. Safe. And on to second goes Rogers. It's 2-0 Montreal. So Steve Rogers, the opposing pitcher, delivers a 2-run single.
Rogers gets his second hit of the ball game, a slider that looked up in the strike zone. It looked like there might have been a play at home plate. Pete cut the ball off, threw to Mike Schmidt at third. It was too late there, and heads up base running by a pitcher. Rogers, of course, a 31-year-old veteran, still young, but has a lot of time in the major leagues. Kept right on going to second base. And the Phillies now are in trouble.
No one throwing in the bullpen. Cromartie up. Only 1 out. Cromartie has struck out both at bats against Carlton. Infield will play tight, try to cut off that 3rd run, but of course that also opens up the alleys for Cromartie. To Rose. Good play by Rose. He just ran Cromartie back to the plate, at the same time keeping an eye on Manuel, and there's the putout. Two out, so the infield will be able to play back, and Jerry White is the hitter.
I don't think this is the way they teach it in spring training, do you? This doesn't go on the instructional film, either offensively or defensively.
White singled his last time up. Oh, he takes a good cut. He has only 1 hit batting left-handed, but from the right side, he's 2 for 6 in the series. It's a big opportunity for White and the Expos. They have 2 runs in and a chance to get 2 more.
I think the tribute to Carlton in game 1 of this series, he did not pitch well at all, made a lot of mistakes, got behind, went to 3-2 on a lot of hitters, but still the mark of a cagey veteran, a good veteran pitcher, only gave up the 3 runs. He had a chance to give up a lot more than that. Here he is in a situation where the Expos could explode for a big inning, yet he might be out of it with just 2 runs.
That's right. The Expos had the leadoff man on in every inning in that first game. That ball hit well to left and out of play. Deep back by White. And here the leadoff man on in this inning, Parrish. And Wallach walked. Spyrer safe on the fielder's choice. Runners at first and third. Manuel, the number 8 hitter, walked to load the bases. And Rogers, the pitcher, singled to center. Cromartie is grounded out. 2 out. Runners at second and third. Foul ball. And that could have been trouble in fair territory, and that Schmidt was very deep at third. Manuel and Rogers in scoring position. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jerry White. Philadelphia partisans have been quieted by this Montreal 5th. shot at Schmidt, and he's going to get the easy out on Rogers. Hey, that's a break for Philadelphia, and that White running well. Schmidt didn't have to risk a throw. Got the easy force.
Of course, Mike Schmidt, always a heads-up player, takes the easy out. Steve Rogers is coming down. There it is, a simple tag for out number 3.
2 runs on 2 hits and 2 walks, and 2 men left. Halfway mark in this one, 4.5 innings in the book, 2-0 Montreal. Last of the 5th inning at Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, and Steve Rogers has shut out the Phils through 4, scattering 4 hits, and his 2-run single, the difference in the game. 2-0 Expos. Boa, Boone, and Carlton, the bottom of the order for Philadelphia. Parrish way inside the line at third, looking for a possible bunt from Boa as they play Larry around toward left and shallow in the outfield. Out of play. The Dodgers have their first hit off Ryan. Still no scores. Los Angeles up in the home half of the 4th inning at Dodger Stadium. That is news. And he allowed 2 in the first game and didn't allow any the time before that.
It's a morale booster.
0-2 the count. Not by much. 1-2. You notice in that shot from behind Carter with no one on, he able to catch one-handed. I guess Johnny Bench really is the one who popularized that. Why have your hand in there where you might get a foul tip? See how he hides his right hand? Those foul tips make you look at some of those old catchers. They shake hands with you, and if you ask them which direction to go, you'd be going in 5 different directions. 2-2 the count.
Jerry Grody used to hold that hand up there by the glove. He used to catch with both hands, but he would curl his fingers out there instead of keeping them straight. That's a good shot of what Carter does with his hand. Now, he won't keep it there with men on base. He's got to have that hand up there ready to make a throw.
And Boa battling takes the count to 3-2. That's almost redundant, isn't it, to say Boa battling? He always is.
He is that kind of player. He, Matthews, Rose, they come out of that battle mold is exactly right. Good hard-nosed players.
That youngster can see all the way to New Orleans, where the Eagles, his team, won today. Crowd comes to life now, 3-2. Ruben Amaro with a little sachet. Wave that one by.
You don't want to walk those little guys, the guys that can't hurt you by hitting the ball out of the park. Rogers certainly is trying to make Boa put the ball into play here, make him hit it. He's going to get on base, obviously. Hit your way on. They don't want to walk you.
Good fielding play by Rogers, who stabs that line drive. Well, he's done it all, hasn't he? He's the complete package thus far. Pitching, fielding, and a 2-run single.
And base running, too. Good shot of the 3-2 pitch, fastball. Right back up the middle, and Rogers steals a base hit from Boa.
Say 30 of the best drivers in the world have battled over 8 months for the title of world champion. 1 race remains. 3 men in contention for the most coveted title in motorsports. And you'll see the deciding contest next Saturday live from Caesars Palace, the Grand Prix, special edition, NBC Sports World. Bob Boone to Parrish, and it's the second out of the inning. Again, the Caesars Palace Grand Prix special edition, NBC Sports World live next Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, we'll have a busy weekend for you. Auto racing on Sports World, the baseball playoffs, and National Football League action. Boy, early in the second quarter, the 49ers are leading the Dallas Cowboys 24-0. Carlton returns the favor, or does he? A nice catch by White in left field. He just outran that sinking line drive.
The Expos made several mistakes in game number 3. Here today, they're making the plays. There's Jerry White with a sliding catch. 2 good plays, one by the left field and one by the pitcher in this inning.
So the Phillies out in order. Hit the ball hard twice for outs. We go to the 6th inning in Philadelphia with Montreal in front 2-0. Cowboys have finally scored in San Francisco, so the score is now 24-7. 49ers, one of the big surprises today. We'll update the other scores for you sometime during this inning. Well, the Eagles have won again, the only unbeaten team in the NFL. The Jets over the Patriots by 4, 28-24. Here it's 2-0 Montreal. Andre Dawson up. Pittsburgh in that rivalry with Cleveland beats the Browns. The Rams outscored Atlanta 37-35 to move into first place, at least for the moment, in the NFC West. Of course, the 49ers, if they're victorious, would then tie the Rams with 4-2 records. Redskins' first win comes at the expense of the Chicago Bears, 24-7. Tampa Bay beat Green Bay 21-10. And Kansas City shut out the Raiders 27-0. That just is amazing. 3 consecutive shutouts. And the Bengals beat Baltimore 41-19. Cincinnati enjoying a good year. Detroit in front of Denver. That would be an upset in the second quarter. The Lions leading the Broncos. Dawson with a solid shot to center field. Now the leadoff man is on in the 6th inning for Montreal. Other NFL scores. Vikings have tied the Chargers in San Diego in the second quarter at 14. There's that 49er score leading Dallas. Giants have a 10-7 lead against the Cardinals in the second quarter. And that brings you right up to date. Gary Carter, a single and 2 trips today. Hit well down the right field line and a long run for Vukovich. Oh, what a fine play. There's so little room in which to stop in foul territory. Vukovich challenging the ball and the grandstand.
That is a very difficult area of this ballpark to play. The distance between that foul line and that wall simply is only about 2 to 3 feet. Vuko is not an everyday player normally during the regular season up here with the Phillies, inserted by Dallas Green because of his hot bat, has made 2 fine defensive plays in right field.
Now Carter denied another hit. Larry Parrish singled to start the goal round in the 5th inning as Montreal scored twice, the only runs of the game. Almost had Dawson leaning. You could hear in the background Steve Borrow say back. The first base coach helping Dawson.
That is not a command to your Labrador Retriever either.
Hear it again.
Sometimes your opponents on the bench will yell that at you as well, trying to deceive the runner.
That's drilled to right center and no one there. Off the wall, and Dawson sprinting around third. They're going to try to score him. And they do on to third. And they get Larry Parrish, and he doesn't agree. It's 3-0 Montreal, and Parrish, frustrated having a bad series with a bat, he says, I finally get a double, and I thought I was safe at third.
What makes Larry Parrish a good hitter is when he goes to the right center field alley. They had no play on Dawson at home plate. Frank Pulley, the third base umpire, not hesitating at all, called Larry Parrish out at third base.
Yeah, but look at Schmidt. He made a second tag for him, and that's usually the giveaway. Schmidt didn't think he got him the first time. Watch, his swipe tag missed. Now he'll go after him a second time.
Pulley's already calling him out. Whether he called him out on the first or second tag, we don't really know.
Looked like Parrish had good argument.
You got to know that sometimes those infielders don't know whether they've made the tag or not. Don't know really whether they've made the out or not. the man with the best view in most circumstances, and the umpire at third base, Pulley, is a fine umpire. And he was right at the right angle, right on top of the play.
Now Parrish is out, but not until he had knocked in the third run of the game for Montreal. A solid double off the wall in right field. And now Carlton and the Phils find themselves down by 3 in the 6th inning. Wallach up. 2-0 the count. 3-0.
That play at third base is the kind of play where if you're a Philly fan, oh yeah, he was out. If you're an Expo fan, no, he was safe. I mean, it's that kind of so close it can go either way.
And a big play because he would, if safe, would have been at third base with only one out where he could have scored on an out. And they green light Wallach 3-0. Now in the 5th inning in Los Angeles, the Dodgers and the Astros are scoreless. One after ball 4. Looks as if Wallach's a little better low ball hitter.
With the uppercut kind of swing that he has, he looks like he drops that back shoulder and forces an uppercut swing. He's going to be a better low ball hitter. That's the kind of swing that's very difficult to get away with in the big leagues because they just throw too hard up here for that. Too good a control.
He's aboard for the second time, however, in a walk. I'd like to go back to the play of Parrish's double. That's the first time we've really had a chance in the series to see Andre Dawson run all out. And he can eat up some territory in a hurry.
We talked about him being a Willie Mays kind of player. There was no contest at home. That ball in that alley, he just has too much speed, too much acceleration. And even if the throw had been on line, he'd have been safe.
And the ball was out there and off the wall just right now. Chris Spire, safe in the fielder's choice, scored one of the runs in the 5th inning, and he's fouled out. Parrish cooling down in that third base dugout. 2 strikes. Hey, we have Andre Dawson. George Finkel, our producer. John Gonzalez, our director. Just watch. His ball takes off, and so does he.
You want to know why people compare him to a guy like Willie Mays? It's easy to see. Perfect cut at third base. And just walks it very casually. Stops it well.
And that was at normal speed that he turned those bases. Spire pulls it foul. But just think, Tom Seaver, if you had been blessed with foot speed too.
I still couldn't hit, though. Who's going to hit for me?
2 out. And Spire lifts it to the right side. Another long run for Vukovich. He's got that corner worked out pretty well, doesn't he? Expos had a run in the 6th inning on a single by Dawson and a long double from Parrish. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Montreal up by 3. Last of the 6th inning, the Phils and the Expos in this decisive 5th game. And Montreal leads at 3-0. And next Sunday, we invite you to join host Brian Gumbel for NFL 81. All the highlight scores and late breaking news from all the games and regional NFL action featuring a pivotal game in the AFC Central. The Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals square off. Other games, Buffalo and the Jets, Houston at New England. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area next Sunday on NFL 81. Dallas Green, is this his last game under that red cap? Or is he going to announce officially that he is a member of the front office of the Chicago Cubs?
I think that announcement will come after Phillies are eliminated or they win the whole thing, one of the two.
Well, they're going to have to come from behind to win it today as Steve Rogers and the Expos have a 3-0 lead. Top of the order, Lonnie Smith, Pete Rose, George Vukovich in the 6th inning. Smith, who cut his right forearm, spiked by Matthews in the outfield yesterday, but not serious.
He says it's not really the spike wounds that bother him, it's the bruise from being hit by Matthews stepping on it. The lacerations were not very deep, really very superficial. It's more of the bruise that is the bothersome thing, and I asked him during batting practice, he said it didn't bother him swinging the bat. He said he felt he should be fine.
He's popped up and lined out today. Good-looking bunt. That's a beautiful bunt if it stays there. Al Smith uses the bunt single to start the Phillies 6. Right now, let's go to Brian Gumbel in New York.
Well, Dick, through 6 innings, there is no score out at Chavez Ravine. Dodgers and the Astros. Nolan Ryan has the Dodgers limited to just 1 hit, and he's got 5 strikeouts. Dick?
Thank you, Bryant. Nolan Ryan, Jerry Royce hooked up in that pitcher's duel. And now this crowd delights some of them on their feet as Pete Rose with Smith aboard on a well-executed bunt single that almost ate him up, and still he placed it beautifully. And Rose figures what's good may be better again.
The reason that Dallas Green inserted Lonnie Smith into the Philadelphia lineup is that exact type of play that he ignites the Philadelphia offense. That was a good, hard sinker in on him. How in the world he kept that ball fair, I'll never know. That was an outstanding drag bunt.
1-0 to Rose. 2-0. Sometimes that bunt single can turn things around the way a long drive will off the wall. And then Rose, he is such an intelligent player. Comes right back whether he was going to bunt or not, but showed the bunt. Just almost as if he's telling Rogers, you never know, might do it again. Brings the infield in, gets everyone thinking. 3-0. Rogers has not walked a man today. For the first time, he goes 3-0.
Rogers, of course, before the game, talking to him about pitching to these Phillies. Don't give him any gifts. Don't help him. Don't help him start any rallies. Only 2 walks, as you see, in his first game, game 1 of this series.
There's a strike.
Now digging himself a hole. Runs the count to 3-0 on Pete. But he's a pitcher with good control. And, of course, Carter went out just to settle him down. Remind him, say, come on now. So we're going to throw strikes. They're going to get on. Let's make him hit their way on. We're not going to give him any gifts.
All 4. Rogers hearing the home field advantage. Meanwhile, the Expos surrounding their pitcher, trying to calm him down. Montreal ahead, 3-0.
The meeting on the mound, Dick, there's the possibility of the bunt here. No outs. Well, Dallas Green elected bunt. Move the runners to second and third. Leave first base open where you can walk Mike Schmidt. I think Vukovic has got to be hitting away.
All 1.
You can see Galen Cisco talking to Jim Fanning. You want me to go out? There and calm his pitcher down.
Someone is throwing now in the Montreal pen. It's Elias Sosa, right-hander. Vukovic, the man with a pinch homer yesterday to win it for Philadelphia, could tie it with 1 swing. Out of play. Sosa, the right-hander. He's getting ready in a hurry. A bunt single and a walk to open the Phillies' 6th inning. They trail Montreal 3-0. Did he go around? No, says Pulley. Pitch, 2 balls and a strike. Spire, and on to first. No, he's safe. Pulled him off. And Cromartie not angry at the umpire, just angry they didn't turn the double play. Steve Rogers, his thoughts about pitching to this Philly ball club.
I was asked that question prior to the first game, and I must admit it hasn't changed as far as my thoughts on it, and that's you don't want to give the Philadelphia Phillies, as potent a lineup as they are, any gifts, that being walks or extra outs in an inning, and we witnessed what 4, 5, and 6 out innings can do for the Phillies offense. It'll pick them right up. Hopefully we can stay away from the gifts. If we stay away from the gifts, we're going to play them even up.
Was a beautiful feed by Rogers to Spire. They led him right to the bag, but Spire, an errant throw, pulled Cromartie off. And that means that Schmidt does have a gift, an extra base runner. And now one swing by the Major League's top home run hitter, and it's a new game.
Was a good example of the kind of day that Steve Rogers is having. Another fine fielding play. The execution by Spire. It looked like he had plenty of time at second base. Just simply a bad throw to Warren Cromartie at first.
So Vukovich at first. Over at third is Smith. That could be 2. And the second time is the charm for the Expos as Rogers pitches out of it, and he came off the field with his right fist clenched and said, all right. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. And after 6 innings in Philadelphia, Montreal 3, the Phils 0. Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. The totals after 6 complete innings. Montreal, 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They've left 4. The Phils, no runs, 5 hits, no errors. They, too, have stranded 4. Carlton working the Jerry Manuel with Rogers the pitcher and Cromartie to follow. Can't say enough about Steve Rogers' work today.
Base running, glove, and bat, and pitching.
Well, that was beautiful pitching in that last inning. So he said Rogers has a winning record against Carlton lifetime, 6-5. And, of course, the difference being the win in Montreal in Game 1. Manuel punches it to right. Vukovich for the out. He's had 5 putouts in right field. Carlton bidding for his 4th Cy Young Award, winning 13, fine ERA 2.42, and of course in the process at the all-time National League record for strikeouts, and is the left-hander with the most strikeouts in all of Major League history. Rogers, 2 hits and 2 at-bats, a 2-run single last time up.
Carlton is right at that 100 pitch mark already. Coming into the 7th, this is number 100 right there.
What does that mean? Do they count pitches for you? What do you figure your gas tank is? What's the warning sign?
Of course, it will vary from pitcher to pitcher and how much you've worked and whether you're pitching in hot weather or cold weather, day game, night game. But I'm normally let's say 15 pitches an inning, and if I run to about 125, 135 pitches, that's about it for me. For Steve, it could be different. Many strikeout pitchers certainly are going to throw more than sinker ball, ground ball pitchers, the kind of pitcher that Rogers is.
Rogers taking it easy going down the line as Smith throws him out. 2 out.
There you are.
It is no fun hitting against Steve Carlton, and I can tell you that from personal experience. That's the slider down and in, and looks like he might have hurt himself on that. Rogers is a pitcher with many facial expressions throughout the course of a game. So you don't really know what that means. Ron Reed throwing in the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen.
Couldn't tell whether or not that expression was because he might have pulled that rib. He broke a rib a month ago, or whether or not that was just agony and not being able to make better contact. Cromartie up. He's 0 for 3 today. Getting into the late innings now, 7th inning, and Montreal with a 3-0 lead. No team has ever lost the first two in best of 5 and come back to win it. Phillies with a shot today, but trail. The Dodgers with a chance today are even. And later it'll be Milwaukee with an opportunity, but they're playing at Yankee Stadium and trying to do the toughest of all, sweep it away from home. Cromartie strikes out for the 3rd time against the left-hander of the Phils. Carlton now with a total of 7 in the game. 1, 2, 3 the story. It's the stretch half of the 7th inning here in Philadelphia. Phillies need 3 to tie.
I'll tell you, we never realized golf was such a tough game. Hey, it's a lot easier hitting a quarterback than a little white ball. So us Linksters drink light beer from Miller. Not just because light tastes great, but because it's got a 1/3 less calories than a regular beer. And it's less filling. And you can't afford to get filled up when you're out there trying to get birdies. Yeah, those things move awfully fast.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
31-year-old Steve Rogers from Springfield, Missouri. One would have to guess this is the most important opportunity in his Major League life, a chance to give the Canadian entry, the Montreal Expos, a chance to move on to the National League Championship Series. And he's done all you could ask, a couple of base hits. He's checked the top scoring team in the National League, the Phillies, scoreless through 6 innings on 5 hits. And faces Gary Matthews, Manny Trio, and Larry Boa in the last of the 7th.
Dick, you know you're pitching a good game the way he did last inning when he gets out of the inning by getting the Phillies' best hitter to ground into a double play. That's when you're having a good day. Whether he can do it for 9 more outs, we'll find out.
Matthews, a single and 2 trips. Shallow fly to Wallach in right. 8 outs to go.
We're talking about Carlton having 97 pitches going into this inning. Rogers has 65 pitches, which is a very good ratio. Of course, Steve is not the strikeout pitcher. Steve Rogers is not the strikeout pitcher that Steve Carlton is. Rogers always around the plate. I don't really know what that was.
Whether they're live or not, huh? Trio takes ball 1. Left-hander Woody Fryman. And a right-hander now throwing in the pen for Montreal. That's Reardon now at work for the Expos. 1-1. Rogers had a good second half of this regular season. He was 6-4 with an ERA of 1.82. He has now gone 15 innings in the playoffs against the Phils, allowing just 1 run.
He is another one of the young veterans. 31 years old, but about 9 years' time already in the big leagues. There's a good shot of what Rogers looks at because he didn't get the sign.
Trio finds the hole on the left side. Phillies have their 6th hit, 2 of them by Trio.
Trio came into the playoff game here hitting only .083, but 1 hit. Has 2 hits already in this game off of Rogers. Who were thinking? One guy with the paltry batting average, already 2 hits off the fellow that is giving the Phillies all kinds of problems.
Larry Boa has fly to center and line back to Rogers. John Kibler with that unique strike sign, raising the right hand, cradling the right elbow in his left hand. On a play.
I
example, camera work from center field, how the Expos will play Larry Boa over toward left field, pitch him away. You could see as Rogers would go into the delivery that Gary Carter would shift toward the outside part of the plate. The old axiom, pitch him away, playing away. You can see that circle going around and around. He wants a sinker away here.
No advance by Trio.
Carter calling for the sinking fastball. There'll be a couple of different signs, Dick, for the straight fastball or the sinking fastball. You may use number 1 for a straight fastball and a 1 going around in circles when you want the sinker. They're both considered fastballs, but they'll both have different movements. They'll move in different directions. There you can see sinker. He wants the sinker again.
Foul back.
Got it up.
Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes on shortstop Larry Boa. 1 out in the 7th inning.
Catchers will use one set of signs with nobody on second base. When somebody does get down to second base, of course, they'll use a mixture of signs with an indicator, trying to camouflage their signs from the runner at second base. And here's a 3, which you can look for a slider.
Fouled away. Go with that little short, compact swing, almost a softball stroke as he's up on the handle, and especially with 2 strikes on him.
Around the big leagues, known as a short stroke. He's got a good short stroke. Means he doesn't have the big, long, extended swing where you lose the bat head, lose bat control. Larry always going to get a piece of it. And you see Carter calling for the sinker out away again.
Up the middle. Spirer. Got him. Oh, that was a tough play. He had to gauge the bag and the ball all at the same time, trying to have the 2 intersect, and just did beat Trio for the 4th.
Shortstops are some of the most beautiful athletes in all of sport. They have to do it all. They have to be strong enough to be able to throw well, their timing, their grace, anticipation. They are really marvels. The shortstop that plays every day through the heat of the summer and the fatigue, being able to do it all is a tremendous plus for any ball club. And when you can find one that hits like a Davy Concepcion, you really have a find.
Yeah, they're so valuable that a guy that might hit 200, 210 can still be an everyday ball player and contribute strongly to a team's success. And Ozzie Smith is maybe an example of that. He's a better hitter than that, but such a marvelous defensive player that he doesn't have to hit. Then you get the bonus when they drive in runs like Concepcion does. Boone drives that one high on the infield, and Spirer has the final out of the Phillies 7th. 2 innings to go. Steve Rogers and the Montreal Expos, looking to the championship series, lead the Phillies 3-0. Top of the 8th inning, Jerry White and the big guns, Andre Dawson, Gary Carter against Carlton. White, a single and 3 at-bats. I was surprised that Dallas Green let Bob Boone hit in that last inning with a man on, down to the number 8 spot. Talk about that later. Live next Saturday, big one out at Las Vegas, Caesars Palace Grand Prix, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. Gary Matthews. White with the first out of the Montreal 8th inning brings up Andre Dawson.
Talking about Boone not pinch hitting for Bob Boone. The reason he took him down, put Keith Moreland in during the season to do most of the catching in the second half, was Boone was only hitting just over 200 in that situation there. Carlton is going to pitch, but this is it. He's leading off the next inning. They're going to pinch hit for him. You think with a man on base that Dallas Green would have hit for Bob Boone.
Got lots of left-handed batters down there, or even Moreland himself to use.
Unser, Gross.
Inning, Montreal leads Philadelphia 3-0. Dawson, after striking out his first 2 at-bats, drove a single to center in the 6th inning and scored from first on a double from Larry Parrish. Andre Dawson's wife, Melissa, Yeah, we've seen the wives throughout the course of the playoffs, and it's become a part of the coverage as the ladies who normally are home or working themselves don't get a chance to accompany their husbands. And they are such important people, athletes or anyone else. And it's nice that we're able to feature them a bit because, especially as an athlete's wife, the sacrifices that they go through. So close, but so far. She thought Andre had a base hit. Hit it hard enough. Gary Carter. Well, at this juncture, you're going to hang out an MVP for the playoffs. Carter would get some votes, that's for certain, as would Steve Rogers. Chris Spire. They've been the three heavy names for Montreal.
You can see Bob Boone shifting outside. There's Gary Carter's wife, Sandy, accompanying her husband here to Philadelphia.
2 out, no one aboard. Carter saw a fly to right. That could be trouble. No, Trio goes out. Vukovich wasn't going to get it, but Trio just easing his way out made it look easy. 1, 2, 3 for the Expos. Bills come up. 6 outs to go in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the pitcher's spot. Then the top of the order, Smith and Rose against Steve Rogers. This is Sandy Carter watching Gary's ball being caught by Manny Trio. And he didn't drop it. Greg Gross. That's for Steve Carlton. Now, the Phillies did not get their ace left-hander a run. And trail 3-0. Smith and Rose to follow. Terry Francona goes to left field. Jerry White moves from left to right with Wallach out of the game. There's White in right field. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gross. Boy, he's a key to a very important inning for Philadelphia, as they got the big guys behind him if they can get base runners. 1-2 the count. Rogers has walked just 1 man, had little flurry of wildness in the 6th inning. He struck out only 1 man. Just let the Phils hit the ball, and not too hard. 6 hits total off Rogers today. Yes, his wife watching. Two into the count.
A point we've made before through this playoff period, Dick, that this out, the first out of the inning, is strategically important for a pitcher.
Francona, does he have a play? Yes. So 1 out in the 8th. 5 outs to go for Montreal. For an update, let's go to Bryant in New York.
Well, Dick, out of Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers have posted the first run of the ball game in the bottom of the 6th. Then on 1st and 3rd, Rick Mundy drills a single to right. Only the 3rd hit off Nolan Ryan in the ball game, but it's enough to bring one home. Dodgers have men on 1st and 2nd, still 1 out, bottom of the 6th. They lead 1-0. Dick?
Thank you, Bryant. So the Dodgers move in front 1-0. And if they stop things right now, it would be Montreal and Los Angeles. Francona around the ball girl down there in the left field corner to make that catch. Bonnie Smith, 1 ball, no strikes. Hit to center field. Dawson has the 2nd out. Steve Rogers with a brilliant performance in Philadelphia today. Pete Rose, the hitter.
Only 86 pitches so far, Dick, and Steve Rogers, who at times can be the best pitcher in our league. When he is his game going, he is as tough as anybody, and he's doing it simply with the basics today. He had 1 little rough spot where he got wild after Smith had that bunt single back in the 6th, but he's getting ahead of his hitters, keeping the ball down in the strike zone.
Missed with that one. Phils have actually had 3 chances to score. In the first inning, they had a couple of singles, but Matthews grounded out. Then they had the play at the plate in the 4th inning after Matthews had singled a 2-out long single by Trio, but they cut down Matthews trying to score all the way from first base. And then the inning to which you alluded, the 6th, when a bunt single by Smith, a walk to Rose with no one out, but then a couple of ground balls, a force out, and a double play against Schmidt, and that was it. 1-2 now to Pete Rose. The championship series, and NBC has both the National and the American League games for you next week, beginning Tuesday. National League will be either 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on whether it's Houston or Los Angeles, and the American League opener at night Tuesday evening. 2-2 to Rose.
Boy, what a nice pitch that was. You could see Gary Carter move in on that, give the target in the upper inside part of that strike zone. Hard stuff in on Pete Rose is where you want to pitch him. 3 would be a slider. Let's see where he goes with it.
A little high. 3-2 the count. $47,384, by far the largest crowd of the 3 games here in Philadelphia. That center field camera, when it shakes, that's nothing wrong with your set, obviously. That's just the action of the crowd. Right. Oh, right at and right under Jerry Manuel. So Manuel opens the door with Vukovich coming up. A 2-out error. Let's go to New York.
Well, Dick, in the bottom of the 6th, the Dodgers have added another run to that one we just showed you. Nolan Ryan kicks and deals to Mike Scioscia. He drills it right back up the middle. Garvey steams around third with the Dodgers' 2nd run of the ball game. Dodgers still alive, but there's 2 outs in the 6th. It's 2-0. LA out in front. Dick?
Thank you, Bryant. So the Dodgers and the Expos in the lead. Vukovich up with Schmidt on deck. 2 out in the 8th inning. The inning should be over. Foul back. Vukovich in the starting lineup. 0 for 3 today. That's why the camera's bouncing out there in center field. Rose at first base, safe on Manuel's error. 1-1. Vukovich, of course, knows that just a base hit get him on. Gives Schmidt a chance to swing the bat with a chance to tie it. Fouled again. Got him in on the hands. 1-2.
If you look at percentages, too, Dick, last time that Steve faced Mike Schmidt in this game was in a game situation where Mike Schmidt could have busted it open. Vukovich gets on, the same situation comes up again. Now he's done it once. With the roll of the dice, can he do it again?
He won't have to worry about it. He catches Vukovich looking. 2nd strikeout for Steve Rogers. No runs, no hits, and error does not cost Montreal. 1 man left. We go to the 9th inning. Montreal 3. The Philadelphia Phillies nothing.
This is Brian Gumble in New York. The Dodgers have been retired in the 6th, but not before scoring their 3rd run. 1st and 2nd, 2 out. Russell bounces one to Art Howe, who throws it up the line, and Denny Walling can't find the handle. While he has his problems, Rick Mundy scores the game's 3rd run. 3rd error for the Astros today. Let's go back to Dick Enberg.
Now the Dodgers at home after losing 2 at Houston, apparently on their way to qualifying for the championship series, where here in Philadelphia, the Phils have just 1 at-bat left. Greg Gose stays in the game in right field with Vukovich coming out, and Ron Reed is the new relief pitcher for Philadelphia. Put Reed in the 3rd spot in the batting order, and Gross, who pinch hit for Carlton, will stay in that 9th spot, trying to keep the pitcher as far away from coming to bat in the 9th inning as possible, and that's Dallas Green's thoughts. There are the numbers as Montreal 3 outs away from victory. Parrish is out. Ground ball to Foa. Brings up Terry Francona for the first time today. Tim Wallach, while he was in there, grounded out and walked twice. Just recapping the scoring for you, it was scoreless until the 5th inning when Parrish led off with a single. Wallach walked. Spire safe on the fielder's choice. Runners at first and third. Manuel walked to load the bases, and Rogers himself singled to center to knock in 2 runs. The other run scored by Montreal in the 6th inning on a leadoff single by Andre Dawson and a double by Larry Parrish.
About today's game, you look at home plate there, you see Terry Francona and Bob Boone behind the plate. Their fathers were traded for each other once in 1956.
Ray Boone was a fine third baseman, a clutch hitting right-handed hitter. Tito Francona, like his son, a left-handed contact hitter. Hey, that's good information coming up there. Terrific.
It's my trivia quiz for today.
You're right, too. Your answer is right.
I started with the answer, though. That's right. I could have said, what 2 players now standing at the home plate had their father?
There's another trivia man out there on the mound, Ron Ree, playing in 2 major league sports, the NBA and baseball. Base hit for Francona off a broken bat. So Francona, 1-out single in the 9th inning.
Not a very pretty hit, but they all count. Kind of like Bake McBride's the other day. That just got up in the air that nobody could get to. He hit it a total of about 90 feet. Like whether they'd have been able to throw Francona out on that play, I don't know. Pretty tough play for either trio or both.
Time permitting, we will switch to Los Angeles for the conclusion of that game after the conclusion of this one. Of course, that all involves what happens here. Spire 0 for 3 today. Looking ahead to the 9th inning for the Phils, it'll be Schmidt, Matthews, and Trio scheduled, and then the lower third of the order. Francona not running. Dodgers moving their pitchers up in the rotation. 1 less day's rest. Valenzuela didn't show any effect, and apparently Jerry Royce not bothering him either, as he has the Houston shutout through 6. Two and 1 the count. The Phils, the playoff championship series last year against Houston, had to come home, or had to win 2 games to survive, down 2 games to 1 against Houston, and beat Rule and Ryan to qualify for the World Series. There goes a runner. Fly ball to center. And Smith has the 2nd out. They had to win 3 in a row to qualify for the championship series here in 81, 1-2, but are 3 outs away from elimination, down 3-0 tonight. Francona goes. Fouled away by Manuel.
Well, the Expos are trying to add an insurance run. Certainly they put up the hit and run on with Spire at the plate. And here they run with Francona. Hit and run or a straight steal. Could have been either one. Ozzie Virgil, the third base coach, flashing the signs.
I think he gave enough of those.
You got me confused and all that.
Inside. No, he called him around on it. 0-2. There goes Ozzie again through a series. Virgil, another father-son combination. His son is a catcher with the Phillies organization, was up with them in September. Right through that one, and that's it for the Expos in the 9th inning. No runs, a hit, a man left. Coming up for the Phillies in their last call, perhaps, it'll be Schmidt, Matthews, and Trio needing...
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Next Sunday, NFL football on NBC. A pivotal game in the AFC Central. Steelers and the Bengals square off. They both won today. There's the other games: Houston, New England, Buffalo, and the Jets. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. San Diego, Baltimore, Denver, and Kansas City, all next Sunday on NFL 81. Last of the 9th inning, Steve Rogers has shut out the Phillies on 6 hits. All 6 singles. Ball 1 to Mike Schmidt, who has a single flied out and grounded into a double play. 2-run home run yesterday. Has a good eye and led the league in walks. Walk is as good as a hit in this spot. Phillies need base runners.
And he also let John Kepler know that he wasn't too happy about that. Mike is one of the best politickers for a hitter, which is fair in this game.
Hit well to center, but Dawson is there. Struggled with it, hit right straight at him, and that's the toughest play for the outfielder. Dawson hauls it in for the first out. Gary Matthews is the hitter.
Rogers has pitched 2 games just about as well as any pitcher could pitch against the Philadelphia Phillies. 1 run in Montreal, no runs through 8 1/3 here.
Hit well to left, but that's at the left fielder, and Francona has the second out. So 2 line drive outs, and Dallas Green and his Phillies 1 out away from elimination. Our thanks to the men who have worked the game today, our producer George Finkel and our director John Gonzalez, the executive producer of NBC Sports Don Ohlmeyer, the coordinating producer of baseball Michael Weissman, technical director in Philadelphia Bruce Berquist, associate director Joe Michaels, associate producers Michael Hadley and Glenn Adamo. Thanks to John Everts of Temple University, our statistician. Manny Trio. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Dodgers lead by 3 as well, and will be going to Los Angeles at the end of this game. Man that would have to get the most valuable player vote from me on the mound, Steve Rogers. If you can beat Steve Carlton twice in a short series, you have really done your work. It's over. A soft line drive to Cromartie. The Expos advance to the championship series. It's an interesting story. That man, Jim Fanning, age 54, out of the front office, takes over the ball club in September. And for the first time, a Canadian team will be in the fight for the National League pennant. And Fanning, leading his mixture of youth and age down the stretch. Steve Rogers delivering today, shutting out the Phils and delivering a 2-run single in the process, as Montreal wins the deciding 5th game. Expos in 384 were witness. They had their year in 1980. And although some of them booed the Expos' victory today,